Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
Welcome her today. She is an intuitive energy healer who lives and works in magical Kenya, where she is from and where she belongs. She believes that healing is the key to happiness at the individual, family, or organizational levels. She has had the gifts of being intuitive and an empath ever since she was a child. She believes that in part she inherited this from her paternal great grandmother, WANJA Muriuki, from whom her naming is derived. She never met her, but was told by her father, a son of the light, in his last days. He told her that she was a healer, a mundo moigo. I hope I said that right. As we say in the traditional language of Kikuyu. I know I have inherited, this is Waja speaking, she knows she has inherited her legacy of healership, and she's grateful for this, as she can now work with it to bring others to the process of healing, as she did for herself. Welcome, Wanja, whose topic today is healing of the past and for the future, why our ancestry matters.
Thank you, Sapna, for that wonderful and warm introduction. And thank you, Dr. Yugandhar, and everybody for the opportunity to be here with you all. It's been wonderful listening to all the presentations from day one, which is the day that I attended. And ever since, I feel myself elevated. So I'm really, really delighted to be here and to talk about this topic that means so much to me, because it's influenced so much of who I am, my sense of my place and my belonging. So we are our ancestry as we are our future. We're everything that came before and everything that will come after, as we are in the now. And this, I believe, is an awareness and a space of understanding that can elevate us into unity consciousness. My personal journey to understand my ancestry has given me tremendous healing in 3 particular areas that have lit up my path as I live my life. And those areas are belonging, purpose, and conciliation or forgiveness. On the first day of the 3rd edition of the World Parliament on Spirituality for Africa, which I attended, Dr. Yugandhar, you asked about family and how family contexts influence our being and our doing. My presentation is an answer to that question, giving my personal experience as an example. I feel that I was raised in a modern world and constantly exposed to the rural setting where I witnessed a lot of traditions from my many grandmothers and from my father, who was also quite traditional and also very contemporary at the same time. My paternal grandfather had 43 wives, and my father was one of 2 sons from the 42nd wife, and he had a sister who was not born into this life called Wanja, my namesake. I was named after her, and we both derived our name from my great-grandmother, who was the mother of my grandfather, and she was called Wanja Muriuki, as Sapna said. And this naming was a big deal. When I was a small girl and many of my grandfather's wives were still alive, they would ululate for me, remembering the mother of their husband. She was a matriarch of our clan. In our culture, in Kikuyu culture, the naming system follows the idea of rebirth or reincarnation. And so through naming, family legacies remain. The family tree becomes easier to recall and to draw. So my father mentioned his grandmother to me a few weeks before he passed on for the first time. I'd never heard of her before, and this was in my mid-30s. And I was so intrigued. She was a medicine woman, a healer, a seer, a diviner, a herbalist, who lived in the forest. Instantly, so much of myself made sense to me. My ability to see things in my dreams, my curiosity for our traditions in herbal medicine, and most importantly, my calling as a healer, which first came from my own interest in healing for myself through different modalities, prayer, meditation, yoga, coaching, and engaging with diviners and seers, priests, and generally those devoted to spiritual practice. I was a seeker first. And what was it that I was seeking? What was I looking to heal? I was healing the sense that I didn't belong. I was experiencing being different on this path, which was often misunderstood. The person who understood this the most was my father, who would often say, "WANJA is completely misunderstood." So when I decided to go deeper into an understanding of my ancestry from a very personal perspective, it was to understand me better. And this is where I found my sense of belonging, my purpose, and also the space for conciliation. How did I do this? First, I went to the archives to dig up all the information that I could find on my grandfather, on both my grandfathers who were chiefs. In their time, they were appointed under the colonial administration. And so the whole aspect of colonialism and how it influenced us was also very much a part of my trying to understand myself and how I had also been affected by colonialism. My grandfathers were both highly respected, but they were also feared. They were also greatly feared. And I wanted to understand that. I wanted to understand the trauma that they experienced, but also what was being experienced by the people around them as well. I discovered the burial site of my grandfather and several of his wives and children, an ancestral site, which we are now placing into a foundation as a family heritage site. I sat and spoke to elders about the past, about my grandmother, my grandfather, my father, and the world he came from and grew up in. And in the process of all of this, my understanding of my past became richer and my present circumstances became clearer. I think belonging is the one area that, that had the most profound impact for me. From all of these activities, engaging with the elders, sharing the history, the family history that I was finding, because whilst a lot of it sat in the National Archives, nobody had really bothered to pull it together and to translate what was held there, to transcribe and to share it. So a lot of people were also coming across this history for the first time as well. And the process culminated in us forming a family foundation and my being asked to be a chief patron of that foundation, which is a bit unusual because I'm quite young compared to others in the family and also being a woman. But what this did was sort of bring back that space that women were given in our former traditional settings, which has really been lost in this contemporary space that we're in at the moment. So for me, it was also a sort of full circle, coming back to my great-grandmother from whom I'm named, whilst being in this space and time as me, just as myself, WANJA. The most profound part of this healing, though, was with the connection with my father's sister, who didn't survive childbirth. So family and systemic constellation work and healing presents the need to recognize and acknowledge everyone in a system, so that even those that have died or been unborn into this world are also recognized as their souls exist. And when I met my father's sister with my subconscious mind in a healing session, actually with Sapna, I I saw that she had been forgotten without recognition and acknowledgement, and embracing her gave me that sense of belonging because I saw myself as my father's sister. And in that, I accepted a lot of our similarities as well as our differences with my father, that is. Bishop Cristobal spoke about brotherhood through tolerance, mutual understanding, respect, esteem for others, friendship, and brotherhood. And when I was in this space, when I had gone into this space in my subconscious mind, I experienced all of this in my relationship with my father. So it's no surprise that he would say when he introduced me, "This is Wanja, she's my sister." I had the experience of being his sister. I had the experience of being a sister, which was important for me because I grew up feeling as though I didn't belong within my siblings. Being the youngest in a family of 6 children, I was picked on a lot and made to defer, and this created many wounds to heal. What I experienced that brought me tremendous healing was being an equal to this great man with great ideals that I shared, and at the same time being myself. I saw with my third eye that I do belong here in this lifetime, and I do have a contribution to make in my own way, and that I belong to something greater. I'm part of my ancestry and I have a place in it. I have a place in the story of our ancestry. In different healing spaces, the message that would come to me was, take your position. And in both instances, I was like, what is my position? My position, now I know, is being an equal to all. My position is to be an expression of what I feel purposeful about healing in whatever way that might be. My position is to acknowledge that I can influence. It is in our DNA. My position involves being a woman and allowing myself to be expression of that divine feminine essence. And lastly, conciliation. From my research, I discovered that most medicine people, most healers were outcast. They were made to feel that they didn't belong, which is why they became seekers and healers in the first place. And this gave me empathy and compassion for myself, as well as for those that didn't accept me as I am and as I am becoming. Their non-acceptance gave me the space to find myself and in the process to heal. And so they are very much a part of who I am and who I am becoming, from the past and for the future in the now. Thank you.